Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Capstone Symposium poster presentation. My name is Jessica Fragoso, and the title of my poster is Don't Save All the Trees, Ensuring the Survival of Pacific Northwest Forests Through Ecologically Focused Thinning Treatment. For my capstone project, I interned with Northwest Natural Resource Group and was responsible for the co-production of an executive summary that communicated the findings of their 2023 Soil Moisture Monitoring Program. The purpose of this study was to explore the effectiveness of tree thinning treatments in relation to supporting forest development and resilience in the face of global warming. In order to further understand the motivation behind this study, it's critically important to understand the historical relationship that humans have had with Washington's forests. To begin with, Washington has historically been composed of old-growth forests that housed mature trees, which are vital environments that provide ecosystem services that are unique only to these forests. For example, their exceptional ability to capture and store humongous amounts of atmospheric carbon within their roots and soil. However, after 150 years of industrial logging practices, Washington's forests have shifted into a structurally simpler, less biodiverse, and younger ecological landscape. In the midst of increasingly drier and hotter summers, this shifted landscape is not prepared for incoming climate stressors such as drought and wildfire. Thus, if forests fail to survive in an era of climate change, there lie serious repercussions for both forest and human resilience. To further guide solution development for this environmental issue, two research questions were developed. The first question is, how can Western forest management remediate historical mismanagement of forests through the adoption of an environmental stewardship framework as opposed to an industrial framework? The second question is, how can sustainable forestry feasibly develop while also safeguarding the socioeconomic dependence of these forests? In order to effectively answer these questions, I conducted an independent review of scientific literature of forest science, in addition to an analysis of Pacific Northwest indigenous case studies of forest management and tribal perspective. Thirdly, my involvement with my internship, Northwest Natural Resource Group, as a forest soil science intern allowed me to gain hands-on exposure to the effectiveness that tree thinning has in supporting forest development. My main responsibility as an intern was the sole collection of soil moisture data in two forests, one in Nisqually Community Forest in Ashford, and two in the Taylor Mountain Forest in Issaquah over the summer season, and transforming this data into data visualization sets, which can be seen in Figure 2. After collecting a season's worth of soil moisture data, which can be seen in Figure 2, we found that the average volumetric water content percentage per transect by Data Ashford showed to have the highest soil moisture retention between the transects that had undergone 50% to 70% thinning in comparison to the control, which had underwent no thinning. While it's important to note that the gap cut transect, which is a clear cutting of essentially all trees in an area, exhibited the highest soil moisture retention, it should be clear to note that the goal of this study was not to promote the clear cutting of forests for the sole purpose of soil moisture retention. Thus, as a result of these findings, three results or conclusions were identified. The first, being in relation to the human relationship to forests, is that Western forest management frameworks rooted in ecological stewardship is proven to support forest survival. The average soil moisture retention results from my internship thinning experiment reinforced the need to incorporate forest stewardship amongst other socioeconomic priorities within the forest management sector. Less stand or tree density increases overall water and nutrient availability, thereby creating opportunities for trees to mature into a resilient and diverse forest ecosystem. Additionally, sustainable forestry ensures a reliable source of lumber available for the socioeconomic need of human society. Through talks with foresters and my site supervisor, I learned that stands removed for the purpose of this experiment were reserved to be used as lumber yield for local forest management entities. Thus, this experiment exists as proof that sustainable forestry can also benefit the well-being of people by ensuring the long-term supply of climate-resilient lumber, thereby safeguarding socioeconomic interests of people. The third result is that sustainable forestry cannot develop without traditional ecological knowledge. While this experiment adds valuable knowledge to the developing field of sustainable forestry, there remain many gaps in knowledge in relation to successfully supporting climate-resilient forests. To holistically solve such an environmental issue, feasible solutions cannot be developed without the presence of indigenous communities who have historically stewarded this land before colonial entities. For example, historically present tribes that have been here are tribes such as the Muckleshoot tribe, the Puyallup tribe, the Suquamish tribe, and many more tribal entities. Thus, as we enter into an era of anthropogenic global warming, it is crucial, not only for the ecological well-being of our environment, but for us as humans to ensure the survival of forests. However, if we are to holistically solve such an environmental issue and make ethical environmental solutions, these cannot be developed without the presence of diverse knowledge systems outside of the Western science discourse. Thus, this experiment is success proof that sustainable forestry can exist without full sacrifice to the human dependence of forests. However, more research is critically needed if we are to ensure the survival of our Pacific Northwest forests in an era of global warming. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I would like to extend my gratitude to my capstone professor, my faculty advisor, my site supervisor, Rowan Braybrook, my capstone peers, and my friends and families for supporting me in this endeavor of creating my first capstone project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a lot. Take care.